it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video. So last week, Thursday I think it was, I went diving with Hunter and one of his friends that's a fisherman, but he's starting to get really into diving and he wanted to head out with us to shoot some Kole. So I went with them and I wasn't targeting Kole, but I did want to shoot some invasives. It was my first dive back from Florida, so I wanted to kind of, get back into the swing of things in Hawaii and reef diving and whatnot. So I thought what better way than to take some invasives off the reef. So I went diving with them, had a lot of fun, shot a lot of fish. They shot a ton of Kole and I did a pretty good job, I think, of cleaning up the reef a little bit. I shot like a few rois, so I got all the footage for you guys in this video here, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And remember, if you guys like videos like this, remember, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Really helps out my channel, and leave a comment if you like. So I'm just gonna get into the footage. We got some footage from Hunter first, and then some footage of me shooting rois, and that's the video. So I'll see you guys in the water. Shoots. Alright guys, so I just got a few Kole clips from Hunter. Micah didn't wear a GoPro, so I don't have any from him. That was Hunter's friend that he brought with him, the one that's kind of new to diving. And they shot a ton of Kole on this dive, but as you can see, there's so many of them around. The spot that we have here is just absolutely loaded with them. They took enough for their family and them to eat, and Micah was, getting the hang of things, kind of getting used to diving with a 3-prong and all of that good stuff. Just the kind of things that you learn. I mean, I'm sure all of you guys remember, if you have been diving for a while, remember what it took to, get the hang of things and start shooting fish consistently. And Micah was doing pretty well. He shot a good amount of the Koles that ended up on our stringer, so cool to see somebody learn. Yeah, I'm just gonna let the rest of these Kole clips play out, and then we'll move on to what I was doing while they were doing this. So while Hunter and Micah were shooting Kole, I was kind of a little bit farther out in a little bit deeper water trying to find rois. Luckily at this spot, I think that me and Hunter and other divers have been doing enough damage to the invasives to where there's a lot less of them now, and they're a lot more skittish though, which is the hard part, but there's a lot less of them and they're a lot smaller on average from what I've noticed, which is great. And this dive, I was just kind of picking off any rois that I could see. I think I shot every single one I saw this day except 2 of them. I think 2 of them got away. But I saw this small one right here hanging out on this little ledge, and I picked him off. So for those who don't know, I've made a few invasive videos, so if you've watched those, you probably heard me say this before, but rois were introduced in, I believe, the 1950s from French Polynesia, and they were supposed to be kind of like a game fish addition to Hawaii's reefs, something for people to hunt and, eat, because they actually do taste really good, but they just grew out of control along with ta'apes and to'als. They had no natural predators, and they were very brand new to the ecosystem, so nothing really knew what they were, or like the natural predators didn't know what they were, so they would kind of not eat them. Their population exploded, and now they're invasive. So fishermen and spear fishermen, whenever we catch them or see them, we try to kill them off. There's no size limit on them because they're so destructive to Hawaii's reefs that we just want to, curb their population as much as we can. But it's so out of control that it's really hard to actually make a dent. But at this spot, it seems to be working, or either that or, you know, they're just getting better at hiding. But I found another roi under that coral head there, and I got a little stone shot with the single band. I was kind of trying to avoid shooting directly into rocks, but rois really like to hang out where they have a quick getaway spot where in one motion they can just drop straight into a hole or into some kind of cave that you can't really get into, and somehow they always disappear inside. I have no idea, because I've seen giant rois go into these tiny little cracks in the rocks, and I have no idea how they fit in there, but they do it. And so they're gonna do this thing where they kind of like look at you and flap their fins. A lot of groupers actually do that outside of Hawaii, and so you have a certain amount of time before time window where you can take your shot before they kind of dive into a hole. I saw this one there, and he goes into the hole, and then he comes right back out further down, and it was a kind of a far shot to do with the one band, and I got him a little bit farther back in the tail. Rois actually have a really quick reaction time. It's just that you can get really close to them, so they don't really have enough time to get out of the way. But I've seen rois like straight up just dodge spears before. It's pretty crazy, and he almost got me there, but caught him right near the back near his tail. So this guy wasn't getting away. I actually shot another one it was a baby one, but he ripped off, and the thing about that is it's fine if they rip off, because as long as you put a hole in them somewhere, they're probably gonna die from it. So a lot of times I'll just shoot them, brain it, and then drop it. But this time Micah wanted to do a gyotaku of the roi, so I kept them. So on this one, I saw a big roi hanging out under that ledge, and I shot him right in the mouth, but I accidentally hit that yellow tang there. Did not mean to do that. I was just kind of tunnel visioned on the roi, and I wasn't paying attention to what was in front of it, and that was my bad. But I ended up braining this yellow tang because I didn't want it to suffer and then die later, because I totally like destroyed his mouth because he was so small. I just like smashed his jaw, and so he wouldn't have been able to eat or anything, and he would have just suffered and died eventually. And I probably hit his gills, so he probably would have bled out. Either one of those is just not a good death, so I just brained him real quick, and then I used him for chum on the outside. Nothing came around, but I used him for chum on the outside. And this was the biggest roi of the day. Just kind of sucks that I accidentally shot the tang. Did not mean to do that. Completely unintentional. But I did feel pretty bad for it after. I didn't want him to suffer until his eventual death. So right next to this roi that I just shot, I saw another one. I think this one's actually the biggest roi of the day. Sorry, not the one I have on my gun right now. So I just strung up the roi on my shooting line, and then loaded up one band and dropped down for this other roi. And at first I couldn't see him. I saw him from the surface just chilling above the bottom. But I guess as I was making my drop, he got scared and he went underneath that coral head. You can kind of see him. They just line up. Boom. Yeah, that one's the biggest roi of the day. So big or small, it doesn't really matter. You just kind of want to get as many of them off the reef as you can. You know, it's kind of inconvenient because a lot of people don't really eat them. They're known to have a high ciguatera content in their meat. Whether or not that's completely true, I have no idea, because I tend to avoid them just in case. But I don't eat them, and a lot of spear fishermen don't eat them, so it's a little bit hard to, you know, get people to shoot lots of them on a dive, because it's kind of like a waste of time. But it really does help out the reef. As you can tell by this spot, there wasn't a lot of them around, but back when I was younger and I used to dive this spot as a beginner, these rois would be everywhere and they were huge. There's a post of it actually on my Instagram from a few years ago of when I shot like, I think 9 or 10 of them in an hour, and they were all pretty big. So, but this is the haul. You can see all the Koles on the stringer that Micah and Hunter shot, and then just all the rois that I shot. Then here's another look at that, just the stringer of Kole and the rois. So it's always good to get these guys off the reef because, like I said, they're really destructive. Of the 3 invasives, I would say they're the most destructive, just because they have the really big mouth that allows them to target a lot of reef fish. So good to get these guys out of there. Alright guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. It wasn't much, you know, I didn't have a lot to offer. I got some rois and had some Kole footage, but hopefully the next video will be a little bit more action, a little bit more deeper drops and stuff like that. Stuff that I can, you know, elaborate on some more. Rois and 3-pronged Koles, you know, there's not a lot to say. It's pretty self-explanatory, but I hope you guys enjoyed it anyway, and I look forward to making another video for you guys. It's great to be back in Hawaii. I'm excited to get on some Hawaiian action instead of, you know, Florida action, which was cool, but like, you know, Hawaii is Hawaii, you can't beat it. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Shoots, everybody.